Mm. So I'm gonna just start over and share what I've been thinking about. Um, Sometimes it's useful to look back on our life and think about how we got to this point of being dedicated to the Dhamma, dedicated to the path, um, recognizing that there's been progress and feeling the beautiful experience of living from the Dhamma, and how much gratitude we have for the Dhamma and for the people who have supported us, but also for so many of the experiences we've had that have gotten us to this point. And even if, as you're listening to this, it feels like life is still pretty chaotic or challenging, um, taking heart in the fact that we can see progress in our practice, and also the encouragement of people who've been through a lot and have still come to this point where they really experience peace and freedom from all of that suffering. So I was starting to share before our technical difficulties set in, or before I knew about them, that this week I had a chance to spend a little bit of time with a couple of friends from long ago. So coming together about 30 years ago when my life was really in chaos. And that chaos or upheaval was began with my father's death and with a friend leaving his very wonderful marriage of 20 some years. And it just hit me in a way that showed me how unstable and unreliable these um, things are that we depend upon in life. And it caused me to really change my life, which it was uh, chaotic, and I really think of it as an upheaval. And during that time, I I started to practice really deeply and train to be a minister. And these two friends that I saw a couple days ago were part of that period in my life. And it was beautiful to see how their lives have unfolded in the practice. And the challenges of life, one of them um, is a hospice minister, or it helps a lot of people with grief. And she also, someone that she was with during the time I knew her well. um, they had split up, but she wound up taking care of this partner of hers, her previous partner, for the last few years of her life as she went through cancer. And talking about that. And the other friend has been married 65 years, um, together with this wonderful man who I also know. And his health is drastically, rapidly declining. He's 85 now. And she's preparing for that upheaval in her life. And to recognize that these times of intensive change can be so valuable to the practice if we recognize that there is a solid foundation. Call it the Dhamma or call it whatever you want to call it. Both of these friends started out as Catholics. And, we talked about the various, in our meeting, religion, it doesn't matter really, whether it's Buddhism or Catholicism or whatever other ism. That's not really the point. The point is that there's this palpable, direct experience of what underlies all of this. And to see that it is immediate. It is like the words we chant to describe the Dhamma. It's here and now, timeless, inviting us to really see it, to experience it. And it leads us inwards. And it's for each of us to experience or directly know for ourselves. I find it really inspiring and encouraging that this is available to human beings and devas directly. And whatever isms there are in our life, we learn to not take them so seriously, not think of them as absolute and all encompassing, completely stable, but to recognize that it's our experience of truth, of reality with a capital R, that really shows us what all these words that we use, what all of these ideas that we discuss, what it really means. And I find that very inspiring. So moving from a life of upheaval and chaos to a life of peace and tranquility and giving is a process that we have a chance to choose, really. We can choose to, in the middle of the upheaval, really look at our experience directly. And I found that's really where right effort is applicable. So right effort often feels like it's a matter of discipline, of routine, of bearing with, pushing ourselves in the practice and that kind of thing. And I feel more like right effort is the consistent, patient endurance to really investigate our own suffering. Ajahn Sumedho's been saying right effort is no effort. And I don't really feel that way. I know what he means. He's talking about meditation, and if you try to push or bear down and hold things in place, it doesn't lead to the kind of opening and relaxing and natural presence with what's happening that we need in order to understand, in order to see the truth. But I think there is this important kind of steady, continual application of mind to the upheaval that we're experiencing, or even the minor irritations or whatever it is that we're experiencing as a result of this samsaric existence where things are completely unreliable. And you think, oh, a marriage of 65 years, that's really a good run. I know it hasn't always been easy for them. And it is wonderful, but it's not permanent. And it's not everything. The Dhamma really provides everything. The Buddha talks about, what is it like to be a Tathagata? Or what is it like to have come to the end of being disturbed by the upheaval in the world, or the upheaval in life, or the changes that happen, or take it down to the minor irritations and disruptions, like technology not working. And he talked about this beautiful sutta. I'm going to look it up here. I had it up, it's gone now, so I'm going to go back to it. It's in the minor discourses in the Itiwataka, number 38. It's called Thoughts. You might have heard me talk about it before. I just think it's very beautiful. And the Buddha said, two thoughts often occur to a realized one: the perfected one, the fully awakened Buddha. And this is also true of anyone who's, I believe, who's realized the complete path, the realized Nibbana. The thought of sanctuary and the thought of seclusion. And sanctuary, the Pali word is kema. It's a beautiful word. It's the thought of safety for living beings, the thought of happiness for them, security. The realized one, and then seclusion is paviveka. It's that quiet, peaceful mind, peaceful existence. The realized one loves kindness and delights in it. So this thought often occurs to him: through this behavior, I shall not hurt any creature firm or frail. So this is, like the kema, the sanctuary is how we treat other living beings, to make things safe for them, at least safe with regard to us. And the realized one loves seclusion and delights in it. So this thought occurs often: what is unskillful has been given up. And I can really relate to that as I look back to 30 years ago. I mean, at that time, I was trying hard to be skillful. I was trying hard to live in the best way I knew how to do. But there was so much I didn't understand and didn't know. And I knew that I wanted to be more skillful. And I was on that quest. And when I saw how impermanent and unreliable these structures that are around us are, it really upended my life. But from that, we can use that upending in a positive way, in the way that moves us in this direction of seeing reality and coming to this point where the Buddha was, with, really just living for the sake of sanctuary for living beings and seclusion for ourselves. And this is like, you can have seclusion even when you're among other people. It's an inner peacefulness. And he goes on to say, you too, he's telling the mendicants, he's telling all of us, you too should love kindness and delight in it. And then this thought will often occur to you, through this behavior, I shall not hurt any creature firm or frail. And you too should love seclusion and delight in it. And then this thought will often occur to you, what is unskillful? What is not given up? What should I give up? So when we're in this process, seeing what is it that I should give up? And this comes back to our discussion of the sense of self. Why are we holding on to something that we should give up? It's because we have this idea that we need that, or this is our conditioning for how we try to operate or move through the world. But because we see the suffering in it, the lack of peace in it, then we know we should give it up. And we can, even if it upends our life. Chaos isn't the worst thing. It's being on the road to, or not being on the road to peacefulness, being on the road to further chaos. And the Buddha spoke this matter. When he spoke about this matter, he also said this. This is the verse at the end. Two thoughts occur to him, the realized one, the bearer of the unbearable. I like that phrase. It's like we too become the bearers of the unbearable. We think it's unbearable to lose your husband after 65 years or after however many years, to be faced with the knowledge that you're going to die soon, to realize that what we've depended upon is not reliable. All of those things feel unbearable, but we bear them. I mean, sometimes just feeling embarrassed seems unbearable, or anxious. But every one of these things is an opportunity to see the truth, to really experience what is reliable and what is the ground from which we can act and speak and think that leads to peace and letting go of the suffering. So two thoughts occur to him, the realized one, the bearer of the unbearable. First mentioned was the thought of sanctuary. Then the second made clear was seclusion. Dispeller of darkness, the great seer has crossed over. The attained, the master, the undefiled. In the midst of it all, he is freed in the ending of craving. That sage bears his final body. He has disposed of Mara, I declare, and gone beyond old age. Standing high on a rocky mountain, you see the people all around. In just the same way, the all-seer, so intelligent, having ascended the temple of truth, rid of sorrow, looks upon the people swamped with sorrow, overcome by rebirth and old age. And this too is a matter that was spoken by the Blessed One. That's what I heard. So that idea of, we look back over the decades, And we can see the suffering and how we ourselves and people around us have perpetuated that suffering. And we can see how to move in the direction of peace, of love, real love, not the sticky kind of love that sometimes causes more upheaval. And one thing that arises so naturally in that space is gratitude. The gratitude for being challenged by the things we've been challenged by. Someone came this morning here and we were talking about Dhamma, and he mentioned that he knows this, has this coworker who has cancer, and now it's clear that the medications aren't working anymore. And this person said, you know, this has been really helpful to me. This has helped me really see what's true, what's important. If I didn't have this happen to me, I would have kept going in the same way endlessly in this struggle. And it's just so counterintuitive to most of us that the upheavals, the falling apart of the things we've been relying on or trusting to be permanent, or trusting to be permanent enough that we don't have to think about it, is really the way that we find the breakthrough sometimes. And then still, this idea of putting the effort in to continual reflection, because that's really the right effort. We're continually reflecting on our experience to see the places where we're not following the Dhamma, where we're attaching to something, where we're trying to become something or trying to get rid of something. And then at the level of the Buddha, where he's at, or the Arahants, what's there is this desire, this interest in peace for beings, sanctuary, and for one's own peace and happiness. It's like, even using the word desire sounds funny because it's not like there's any craving in it. It's just, that's the impulse for protection for living beings. So there's that loving kindness in there, right at the basis, right at the strata of the foundation of everything. The other part that was so wonderful in talking with these friends, these old friends, old in so many ways, old in the long history that we've had, and old in years, is that, like I said, whatever religious path we are following, it's the way that we engage with life and the challenges of it that really is the key to peace and happiness, to awakening. There's another sutta that I was reflecting on this week. It's when two monks came to the Buddha, and each in turn they bowed to him and said, when someone has completely seen the Dhamma, realized the end of the path, is completely free from suffering, they don't have any thought of being better or worse or equal to anyone. There's no more of that evaluation. And then the Buddha agrees, they know the Buddha agrees, each one of them separately. And then they bow and they circumambulate him and leave. And after both of them left, the Buddha said to the other monks or mendicants, whoever was there, that that's how it is when someone realizes nibbana, when they've completed their work. They talk about the Dhamma, but there's no self in it. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, when the sense of self is fully understood and relinquished, the truth is clear, and there's no need to struggle anymore or worried about whatever might happen. Because things will happen. Things we cherish will end. Things we don't like will show up or persist. Um, that's the nature of life. And to be free of that underlying worry or concern or fear, it's so peaceful that we don't have to just imagine not struggling with any of that anymore. You know, it's you start to get the sense of, maybe you can get the sense of how Nibbana can be so completely peaceful, and that's why it's so happy. That's why it's called the highest happiness. It's not usually the way we think of happiness. We want to have some, really, maybe want to have some really strong, pleasant feeling. And when we're moving in this direction, maybe it's hard to understand, but hopefully there's enough of a change in ourselves, or we can see the change in others in a way that really encourages us to continue, to not let the circumstances of life, no matter how formidable they seem, to become barriers, to not devolve into blaming other people or blaming circumstances or kind of railing against the changes in life, but to ask, like, how can I work with this? How can I make use of this? Can I see what I'm holding on to and let go? Like the Buddha said, like what am I still stuck in? Can I let it go? I've made a number of changes lately, not quite intentionally, but just naturally. Like, I don't listen to or look at news anymore at all. I don't read news at all. It's the same thing over and over again. I'm still clear about the things I can do to help the situation, and that's really all that I need to do. And I still see people who are, very caught up in it, uh, attracted to it, and I think find some excitement in it. maybe if they're willing to look, they'll see the sense of self arising to be indignant or defended or frightened or shocked or horrified or whatever. But that's also the sense of self, or maybe even entertained. And it can feel like a noble pursuit. But at the end of the day, it's not. Um, it it leads to more inner turmoil and suffering, and it doesn't lead to bringing more peace into the world. And I'm sure there are people who would argue with that. But from the way I can see it now, I think that that would require a kind of investment in samsara that's not going to give the returns that we want. So we can just investigate these things. You know, you don't have to take what I'm saying as something you have to agree with or believe in, but to investigate it, see what you're finding out for yourself. And even when we read the suttas, um, there are definitely things that we should take lightly, not as absolute. Especially you can tell when you see the Buddha coming from different angles on some point, when it helps to round out how we might perceive it. Or something like, the emphasis on the monastic life being better than the lay life for practice. It depends, this body of information was curated by people who are going to have that perspective. But when you look at your own life, you can see what is advantageous for your practice and development and what isn't. And regardless of the form it's in, like regardless of the religion my friends have, how they approach life and how they investigate and how they develop the mind is what really matters. And bringing in the causes, the good conditions for practice, we need to understand how to do that. Like spending our time with people who also have this dedication to truth, dedication to peace, dedication to realizing and experiencing the end of suffering. I'm going to stop there, and I hope you have some questions or comments. Yes, Sarah.
Hi.
Hi.
It's a comment. I just wanted to express my gratitude for this practice. My daughter was pregnant, 22 weeks, and this morning she lost the baby they had to induce because of birth defects. So it's a lot of emotional, emotional stuff. But I've felt more palpably than I've ever felt before that there's this other source of peace. So
Excuse me just a minute, Sarah. Somebody's knocking at the door. No, I'm calling you. It's okay. That's okay. Philip just arrived. Sorry, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying that, feeling the fruits of this practice during this time in particular has been really profound. Um,
Yeah.
so inspiring. Like that, I wouldn't have believed it. But I just thank you so much. I thank everyone for being here and, being a part of this. And anyway, that's all I'll say. I'm feeling grateful and also very sad, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are some good things to remember at a time like this. Remembering that, um, how many weeks did you say?
22.
22. Yeah. We don't really know at what point in that process the living being actually enters that body. Maybe it hasn't. And if it has, it will move on, hopefully, to a better situation, more sound body. It's not like anything is gonna just immediately take the sadness away, and we don't need that either. We want to be present with what we feel, and we can share blessings with that being, and start to remember that the story of one lifetime is just a small chapter in the whole big picture. When at times like that, I think about the Bhikkhuni Patichara who taught many nuns at the time of the Buddha. And she, it's a little hard to tell, but it may be the case that she herself lost 2 children. And many of the nuns had lost children. I mean, that was a very common experience before the medical technology that we have. And she said, if you knew where they had been in a previous life, if you knew that where they were going, you wouldn't cry. The main thing is we want what's best for them. And we can send them on their way with that energy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Philip. It's okay. We'll have a technology discussion afterwards. Nora?
Thank you. I am really touched by your discussion of this deep process of letting go of the self. And my mother died last year. And I am just kind of over the past while been really observing, not just the grief, obviously, but the sense of self wrapped around the concept and the actuality of being a daughter. And it's kind of hard to, like we're so ingrained to be a daughter or to be a child that and yet there are moments when I can see, well, that's just a formation. But then and then there can be moments of ease of just like, wow, that is a holding a pattern that isn't solid either. And yet I can also then kind of like tug back like, oh, well, that's being dishonorable to my mother. So I think there must be an and place or both and where, yeah, we do have, like in the healthy sense of self, this attachment and connection to our parents and children if we have them, but also having the understanding that that too is impermanent. Anyway, it can be tender, that sometimes rub that I feel. I wonder if you had any thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah, I do. I mean, being both a daughter and a mother, that's been a big part of the learning over the years. And we do let go of all attachments. However, the unconditional love develops in that process to be much richer. And so I'm hearing what you're saying about, well, if I'm not a daughter, which you're not, I mean, we have these labels, we have these roles, we can name any of them, whatever our job is, whatever in every relationship. If we really sit down, and this is a valuable practice I found a long time ago, back then, 30 some years ago, sitting with a partner and them asking you, like, I mean, another person, not a partner in your life, but another person saying, who are you? And if we really like, well, I know I'm not a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a mother, a wife, those are not the real self. I'm not the person doing this kind of job. I'm not the teacher. I'm not, all of these things are just roles we take on. And even all of our characteristics. Am I a kind person or a grumpy person or an introvert or whatever it is, we're not really that. We have these characteristics, we have this conditioning, but that's not who we are. And when we really start to see, we can let go of all of that. When we let go of all the attachments and all of these views of who we are, that's when we really find out there's nothing substantial there. What we really are is the Dhamma or pure consciousness or Nibbana, however you want to call it. And the more that that is what comes through us to engage in life, engage with these people that we have this connection to, the more we can love them. But it doesn't have any strings attached. So that idea of thoughts of kema, sanctuary, because you have this particular role with your parent or with your child or whatever person, you can be more effective. And even the connection to your mother now that she's gone, you can still be sending her love and strength and blessing in a way because you know her so well, you've had such a strong connection that other people can't, I think. And when, like with my children, my grandchildren, I feel like I have a role in their life that kind of gives me the permission to care for them and help them in ways I don't have that permission. And like you don't have the ticket to everyone's bedside when they're dying. So if we really come to that place where we've let go of attachment, we can be there for them in a way that we wouldn't be able to otherwise. So I don't really completely buy into this idea of a healthy sense of self. I really do see that, of course, we need to be psychologically healthy. That is important. And when we don't have, when our when our um, when our mind isn't healthy, we want to help it, do the things that we can to help it be healthy, just like the body. But the sense of self is really suffering because of all these false beliefs and attachments and clinging. We keep thinking we have to protect this identity or this self, but there isn't really anything we need to protect because its true basis is universal. It's not personal. Don't have to protect that. That's beyond any kind of harm. We could protect the body, I think that makes sense to some degree, but then eventually it's going to fall apart, no matter how protective we are of it. And it's got its own thing. It's its own karma. It has its own timing. We can't control it. And we can't control the timing for other people in our life either, of course. But we can help the body, feed it, exercise it. But it's not who we are. And as long as we think we're these things, we won't be at peace. Yeah, Serena?
I've been thinking the last couple of days, especially of a lot of what you're talking about today, because I'm sort of starting now after it's a little over a year since Ron died, and I'm starting now to come out of the shock of the 3 years of, what went on.
Yeah.
And sort of fully realizing, well, I don't know about fully, but realizing, he's just gone. And it's the nature of life and death. That's the deal. You take life, you're going to get death somewhere.
Yep.
It's a very hard time. And there's a lot I need to go deeper inward in practice to finally realize now. I think Ajahn Pasana said something when I let him know that Ron had died, that how much I would be learning.
Yeah.
It's very hard, but I know I have to be patient and with myself and not be hard on myself, because that's been the habit,
Yeah.
To find compassion and yet still the courage to really go deep into it. What you said today has helped, but I have a long way to go here with this.
Yeah. I want to see if I can encourage you to take your thinking in a new direction.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
First of all, stop telling yourself that this is hard.
Okay.
Stop thinking of it as hard and a long way.
Okay.
Like focus on that learning part.
Okay.
Focus on the fact that you now know how this feels. You can have a kind of compassion for other people who go through this that you couldn't have in the same way before. That, yeah, it feels maybe a little like saying my life was in an upheaval, because when you're with someone for so long, like my friend who's been married 65 years and her husband is getting close to the end.
Yeah.
And she said they've got all these doctor's appointments set up, and one doctor thinks that he should have a surgery that might help. And my friend is like, I just feel like the chances are he'll live his last days or weeks or months in misery. And, you just don't know.
Right? You don't. It
And
changes from moment to moment. It's always changing.
yeah, and so 65 years together, they've got this beautiful home. And I mean, he was a doctor, and they have a pool and a tennis court and this beautiful garden, and it's just gorgeous. And she's sitting in the garden, really working through how she's going to basically rewire her brain
Yeah.
when he's gone, because everything will be different.
Yeah. Everything changes. There's nothing that doesn't change.
Because, they've also both been retired for a long time. She's 82, and they've been retired for a long time. So they're just together so much.
Yeah.
She knows. She's been reflecting on her own experience for decades.
Yeah, I did that too. And
Yeah, but you're in better shape because
yeah, I don't, until you're in it, you really don't know what it feels like. So
yeah.
I still don't really know
Mhm.
where I'm at. And I'm alone. Ron and I, we really did. We called this our monastery, our home, our monastery of two, and now it's a monastery of one. We really didn't socialize. So I really have no friends here when we moved here. I have no friends. I'm alone. I'm alone in the world. And first of all, that is very frightening to me, especially at my age. And secondly, I also realize that it's also a golden opportunity because I have this sort of monastery to practice in of quiet, and I can practice more and more, and I'm going to try to deepen that. I am going to deepen that more now.
So I think that in addition to not telling yourself it's hard,
Mm-hmm.
not telling yourself it's a long, long way to go, but
Mm-hmm.
looking at what do you need as support. So, maybe part of the reason this friend got in touch with me after I haven't seen her probably in 10 years. Maybe she called me and this other friend together because of what she's going through right now.
Yeah.
She's reflecting on the fact that we love her.
Yeah.
These are the people to contact,
Yeah, I need to do that because I was thinking yesterday and today of when Ron was going through such hard times, and I talked with you and you talked with him, and it really did help. So yes, I need to contact you about this time.
Yeah, and think about other things that you can bring into your life that will be supportive. Just really open your mind to new possibilities and focus on the learning. Maybe this is a time to think about doing some kind of charitable work, just visiting people who are shut in or visiting, just think about it.
I have thought about it. The challenge is with the ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, health problems. I seldom
Yes.
go out since 1989. This has been my life. That's why being married to Ron was such a blessing because I wasn't alone all the time in
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge to figure out what I need that will really be
Maybe
helpful.
it's just online.
Yeah, maybe
People
so.
connect online and it's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk. And
Or
and
go
then-
forward, don't go back.
Okay, I'd like to talk to you about that a little bit because I'm not entirely clear
Mm,
that I know how to really
mm,
take
Yeah.
that step now that's going to start that path.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ayya.
You're welcome, Serena. Yeah, Paula.
I wanted to thank you for talking a bit about right effort. And I think I'm one of probably others that tend to just feel like that's something that should drive you. But looking at it in terms of the effort for towards investigation, which it seems like along with your encouragement to understand self is your second most frequently spoken topic is investigation. And I just want to say that, I've often asked you like, well, how do you do that? And I'm thinking like, how do you remember to do that? I know I've asked you that before, so I'm not going to ask you that, but I'm thinking that part of it has to do, I've been doing some self-work
Mm.
on terms of being psychologically healthy and realizing that I spend a lot of time with pushing things away, vibhavatana, and that is what keeps me from the investigation aspect.
Mhm. Yeah.
And also that the conventional world just sucks me into doing projects.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. I thought that that was a key in today's talk. So thank you.
Yeah. When you feel like you're being sucked into the world, into a project, and I know you know how to do this and you do it too, but you can look at it and really ask yourself if it's going to be beneficial and
Mm,
for whom. And if it's not all that beneficial, recognize that your brain just wants something to do. And maybe you can give it a very simple, not agitating project, like do a jigsaw puzzle or, knit something or, something that's really calming and not gonna have like anxiety kind of, you don't have to do planning much. You don't have to like get caught up in things and you don't have to feel pressure. But you have this little project that you can just do when you want to. And then you can notice if you start getting goal oriented around making a jigsaw puzzle or something. I haven't found a piece in 6 hours, or something. Just like watch your mind and just investigate what's happening. Of course, we need meditation too. We need moral virtue, but we also really, without investigation, we don't wake up. Yeah.
that's very helpful. I almost got sucked into planning a kayak trip for my club, and that would have been exactly what you're talking about.
Mm.
Anxiety producing, and just seeing that as maybe not something I have to do, but chilling and reflecting as something that I might want to focus on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome, Paula. It's a great place for the sense of self, the ego to pop up and get strong around. I'm needed to plan this, as if no one else can plan this. And I've sometimes, there was I'm thinking of one incident in particular also back there 35 years ago, where someone told this person, "You're the only one who could help me with this." Wow, that's manipulative. And just don't buy into this kind of thing. It's just not true, and there are so many ways in which the ego gets gratification, and then it's up to us to see the danger and to take the escape. Yeah. Yeah. Anne?
Thank you, Ayya. There's so many ways that I'm resonating with this morning. Can you hear me, by the way? I'm on my, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Loud and clear.
So I have two things I'm going to mention. I have a grandson who's precious and close to my heart, who's in upheaval and transitioning, let me just say transitioning into a new whole situation in his life. And so he's moving away and starting a new life, and so I'm going, okay, this is a learning of letting him go and managing the fears. But he was here the night before last and stayed over, and we had this just lovely conversation. He's a Muslim. He's 21. He's a Muslim, as is his father. And he just talked about what his practice meant to him. I mean, he didn't call it practice, but we talked about meditation and prayer.
Mhm.
And we just connected on that level of reaching inwards. So, I just said to him, well, I'll be with you every day when you're gone.
Yeah.
And this is how I'll be thinking of you. It was really sweet. So I wanted to share that. And then today is my mother's birthday, or would have been, and she's been gone close to 50 years.
Mhm.
But it is a day when I think of her.
Yeah.
And I'd like, we didn't have a very good relationship because I was still being a reactive child
Mhm.
when she died. I hadn't come to a place where I could really appreciate her. So I would appreciate some thoughts you might have about, offering her blessings and
Mhm.
thanks,
Mhm.
and just acknowledge that she really set me on a good path in life, which I
Yeah.
know. So I'd appreciate a few thoughts about that.
Yeah. Well, you're doing it right now, we don't know on a kind of material level how much someone who's left this life can hear us or know what we're thinking or what we're doing, but on the ultimate level, there's no separation. So you can talk to her, you can tell her how much you appreciate what she did for you, and you can send blessings, and you can probably feel her blessings throughout your life. And we have this very strong connection to people that are our parents or our children or our partners for a long time, or good friends. And as we go around birth after birth, we often re-encounter them. So this idea of someone is believing that they'll go to heaven and be with their family again, not that unlikely, but it's not the final stop. And having this care for these people in our life, the grandson, and he's looking out forward. The children and the grandchildren, they're going out into their life, and they appreciate their parents and their grandparents to the degree they're able at this point, and probably more later, just like you're describing. But at some point, when we see the Dhamma, we'll realize that these connections are valuable, and we don't need to be attached. And that the part of ourself that feels that pain, sure, there's going to be sadness anyway, even when we know that there is no self to attach to, and there's no self over there to attach to. It's still like there's still the sadness that comes up when we miss them. I was interested in reading Ajahn Jia's biography. This really tough guy who became a monk, who became enlightened. He was the attendant for Ajahn Mun for a few years. And he loved Ajahn Mun so much, he went off on Tudong on his own. He's already fully awakened, and he cried, missing Ajahn Mun. So it's like, okay, we feel feelings, but there's not the same clinging. There's not the same heartbreak. It's not heartbreak anymore. So this is what's evolving and unfolding, and that understanding of the actual reality around not self and impermanence really helps us to be able to be in the experience of these changes. For kind of resting on solid ground. And that solid ground is Nibbana. It is the Dhamma. Yeah. Yeah, Serena.
I think that's exactly what I need to talk to you about, Ayya, because after all these years of meditating, I know what you're saying, but I still don't, when push comes to shove and the hard stuff really comes, I really don't know how to get there deep inside. I'm kind of stuck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I need to go more into that, and I know you could help me understand that better. It's time for me to understand that better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
I'm happy to help. And it's up to us individually to do it.
When I'm meditating, I mean, it seems like Ajahn Sumedho says, ask questions. I mean, he comes up with all these questions, and and sometimes they get really, he's really out there, the most ridiculous thing you can think of, and he'll just throw it out there and ask,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I haven't really known how to do that for myself. I don't know.
And people are different. Our brains are wired differently, and our conditioning is different.
Okay.
So, I resonate with the things Ajahn Sumedho has tried, and I've tried things on my own that have helped, because we've got a lot of similar conditioning, but not everybody. I know people who I'm close to, really good practitioners, they don't resonate with the way he does it. But you got to find out, you got to really who's hurting here? Who's in pain?
Okay.
Why does this hurt? Why does this hurt after all this time? Just really investigate that, not interrogate, but investigate with kindness.
Oh, that really helps, Ayya. Thank you so much. That's the kind of questions I need to ask myself.
Yeah.
Why specifically in here is this the way it is?
And what comes to show us is also in here.
What
What
comes?
comes to show us, what comes to show us the truth is also in here.
That's where I'll find it.
That's where you'll find it. That's where it will come. We gotta ask the question and then just let that hang there, not try to answer it with the intellect. Just let it hang there. Let the Dhamma show you.
Oh, thank you. That is so helpful. Thank you so much. It changes the whole picture. Thank you. I'll try, but I'm sure I'm going to have some questions about that because,
When you
first
need
of all,
reminders, you let me know.
well, my memory's not good. It's pretty much, sometimes I think my memory died
You
with
know what
Ron.
you need to know. It'll be okay.
Okay, so I'll ask you for reminders about that. So just really ask what it is in here
Mhm.
that is, why is this painful? Whatever is it is in there that's painful, why is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And then
that's a
just
place to
wait.
start.
Let the Dhamma tell you.
Okay,
And also, this is being recorded. You can listen
Yes.
later.
okay, thank you. Thank you, Ayya, so much. Thank you. This was a little breakthrough for me that I really needed now. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I celebrate your practice. It's really wonderful. And I hope you have a really great week. I plan to be doing this again next week. We'll see what happens. And yeah, we've started the Sutta study series on the sense of self. So the recording is on the website. If you want to listen, you're very welcome to. And yeah, we'll keep on investigating. And yeah, maybe by the end, you'll know. Why does this hurt so much? Can I really let that go? Oh, yeah. Okay, friends. Take care.
Thank you, Ayya.